Hello, my name is Lydia Jordane. I'm the CEO and founder of LYCON Cosmetics. I have been manufacturing the LYCON brand of depilatory waxes and skincare products since 1978. It is my pleasure to introduce you to the LYCON MANifico male waxing collection, which is specially designed for the male sensitive skin. It contains special ingredients that are very soothing and calming on the skin, like calendula, arnica, Tasman berry, Australian sandalwood, titanium dioxide, and a lot more. With men, there is two things to consider. They do have sensitive skin, and also they can have very tough, short and stubborn hair. So we need to be able to remove short, stubborn hair very easily with as minimal pain as possible. And in fact, LYCON hot waxes are the way to go for the sensitive areas. There are 3 different waxes in the MANifico range, which are very important because you need to use different waxes for different parts of the body or the face. So we have the LYCON MANifico hot wax, then we have the MANifico hybrid hot wax, and the strip wax. The strip wax is great for larger areas like the legs, arms, chests and backs. The LYCON hot wax is fantastic for sensitive areas and where there is short, stubborn hair. You can reapply it on the same area 5 or 6 times. It removes hair as short as 1 millimeter and it's extremely gentle and everyone will be happy. Now the newest one is the MANifico hybrid hot wax, which is a blend between our pine resin formula and the synthetic resin formula. It's extremely pliable and it is so easy to use, so even if someone is not used to using hard wax, you can so easily get used to waxing with the MANifico hybrid hot wax. Now before and after waxing, we must use the right products. So we use the pre-waxing oil before we apply any of the hard waxes. You apply just a little bit. If you've applied too much, you need to wipe it off with a tissue. Now, if you need to reapply the hot waxes a few times over, make sure you always reapply the pre-waxing oil before you apply the next application of either the hot wax or the hybrid hot wax. If the skin is very dry, you can also use the pre-waxing oil underneath the strip wax, but make sure it is really very little. And if the skin is shiny, make sure to wipe it off. So the other product that comes along with this strip waxing range is the cartridge. And some people love to use cartridge waxing, and that is also fantastic for large areas. And the same pre and after waxing products can be used with the cartridge MANifico strip wax as well. When you finish waxing, we really need to clean the skin properly to close the follicles so no undesirable bacteria can get into the follicles. So we clean with the MANifico skin cleanser, and then if someone might be prone to ingrown hairs, you would use the ingrown exit solution. You spray it all over wherever you've just waxed, or for the face you can also use the ingrown exit wipes. They're just very easy. You take one wipe out, wipe it all over the face, and that'll help to prevent ingrown hairs. These products contain salicylic acid, arnica and allantoin, so they're very beneficial to also recommend to use at home on a daily basis. To follow on after the application of the ingrown exit products, just apply the MANifico finishing lotion to moisturize and calm the skin a little bit further. I will now demonstrate some facial waxing and body waxing with the MANifico range. Okay, now for the demonstration with the MANifico range of waxes. And our model has quite a bit of hair, but we're not going to remove it all. We're going to remove the neck hair, some of the cheek hair, and a little bit on the eyebrows. So everybody has a different pattern of hair growth, different amount of hair growth. So before you start, you discuss with your clients what amount of hair you're going to remove. Don't just go proceeding into the waxing and make any mistakes that they're not going to be happy with. And once you have discussed with your client what you're going to remove, you need to stick to it. Mistakes can happen, but we must avoid it because they need to be very happy at the end of your waxing treatment. So first of all, I'm going to clean the skin with the MANifico skin cleanser. It has Australian sandalwood, arnica, Tasman berry, so it's very gentle and very soothing on the skin. So we're going to be removing maybe some cream residue or pollution, perspiration and so on. I actually don't use strip wax on the face because it does not remove very short hair. Sometimes you might have some short hair amongst the longer hair, and the hot waxes will remove that. And we want to get as much as possible to be 100% hair-free result. So the hot waxes are a lot better. And the other thing is you can reapply them on the same area 5 or 6 times without discomfort, without irritating the skin. So it is important to use the hot waxes on the face at all times. You have a choice of 2 hot waxes, the MANifico hybrid hot wax or the traditional hot wax with pine resin, which is a stronger one of the 2. But they're both very gentle on the skin. The MANifico hybrid hot wax has titanium dioxide, micromica, Australian sandalwood and Tasmanberry, as well as chamomile. Okay. So the next thing we need to do is prepare the skin some more, and we need to use the pre-waxing oil. The MANifico pre-waxing oil is a good way to prepare the skin, to pre-soothe the skin, so the wax doesn't grab onto the skin at all. The wax will just come off, but take the hair off with it. Don't apply too much, because if it's too much, then the wax will not stick to the hair as well. So, okay. Make sure to always reapply the pre-waxing oil in between each wax application. So when you need to reapply the wax, then you'll need to reapply the oil before any wax application. I do put the oil a little bit further down where there's no hair, and that's going to be my lifting edge. You know, you can lift off where there's no hair, so you're not tugging on hair, and then you can just pull. So I actually keep a stirring spatula in the waxes, and I don't use those. I don't re-dip. So I will start off with the hybrid first, and the first patch will be on the side here. Don't make them too big because they will be a little bit difficult to remove. And primarily when you first start waxing a client, you really don't know how strong the roots of the hair are. And you don't have to wait. You can apply another patch. So we'll do the other side. Okay. Now that is ready. You can touch the wax, make sure it's set, because if it feels a little bit too soft, let it set a bit longer. And so we pull, and there we go. Okay. Always press a little bit after you remove a patch of wax. That's very soothing on the client. Okay, now I'm going to do some waxing with the MANifico hot wax, and to show you how that one also works. Don't worry if some hairs don't come off, because you can repeat it 5 or 6 times. The oil, it must be applied beforehand, as I already said, and you can remove all those other hairs, because the hairs are growing in different directions, so you're not going to get every single one in one go. Okay. So this is the MANifico hot wax with sandalwood, micromica and chamomile. There were just a few little hairs that were left behind here, so I'm actually including those in the same patch, and that can save you time. To save on spatulas, when you've used one side, you can get a multi-purpose square, which comes in a box like that, and you can wrap that very quickly around the spatula and use the other end for your next application. Saves on lots of wood. Okay. Male hair can sometimes be just so tough, so you have to be extremely strong when you're pulling, because if you pull and you're not really putting all your strength into it, it actually pulls back, so you have to be stronger than the actual roots of the hair. And if you have applied some wax and it's not coming off really well, don't panic, just put a bit more wax on top of it, especially if the wax has cooled down a bit too long, because you might be working on another area. Apply some more wax on top of it to soften the wax again that's already been applied, and then it'll come off a lot easier. Now this is a compress with just cool water from the tap, so sometimes it's really nice. If it's a really difficult waxing session, if the hairs are really strong, you can actually cool the area you just waxed with a compress of just tap-in water. And then apply some more pre-waxing oil, and then you can continue waxing. I'm just using the hybrid again, so you can see some more of that, but it doesn't mean you've got to have both waxes. You can just use one or the other. It's a good idea to follow a line, and we did definitely have a line to follow with our model, because he usually shaves up that area up to there, so I'm just following that. I prefer to put wax on if there's an odd hair here and there, rather than tweezing. Now the skin, as you can see, is a little bit pink, and that is because the blood circulation is activated. Every time you pull out a hair, you're injuring the base of the follicle. So this is the follicle, you pull out a hair, it's actually tearing the follicle base, and that's how the hair has to come out. There's no other way. So that's why you sometimes get a bit of bleeding. And with regular waxing, actually, when people have been shaving, it can be a little bit more painful, but with regular waxing, it actually gets a lot better. And in time, the hair will grow much softer, much weaker and thinner, and the waxing will not hurt as much. It'll be a lot more comfortable all around. So the best thing is, after someone has had their first treatment, to explain that, so they will come back to you for another appointment. Otherwise, they might think it's going to be like that all the time. And there's no doubt about it, sometimes it will, you know, with very strong hair, it will hurt. So sometimes when there's some stubborn hairs, have a good look which way they're growing. And you need to apply the wax against the hair growth, and remember to also pull it off against the hair growth. So these are growing downwards, so I've just lifted them up into the wax, and I will have to pull from here up. Okay. That's better. They're off. All right. So we're going to cool the skin down now and disinfect with the MANifico skin cleanser, because that is actually finished. So sometimes, because there's longer hair here, it can be growing downwards, and if you keep on trying to even it up, you will just kind of getting into the line. So for any little hairs that are growing down, you can actually also trim them to make sure that it's a nice straight line instead of keep on waxing, because then you'll create an uneven line continuously. Okay. So now I'm going to apply the Ingrown Excess solution. Be careful not to spray it on the face, just in this area here, because it can actually take your breath away a little bit. So just this area, and that is about, yeah, and that's it. Massage that in. So that'll help to prevent ingrown hairs. And it is something to recommend that they use at home. We are cleansing again with the LYCON Skin Cleanser. And also, not to forget that we have to do it. Right. Then a bit of an application of pre-waxing oil. You know, some people apply the pre-waxing oil with a cotton pad, and that is quite okay, but make sure you don't have a lot on the cotton pad, because you don't want to have too much on the skin, then the wax will not grab the hair very well. So this is the MANifico hard wax or hot wax. In the USA they call it hard wax, and in Australia and many other parts of the world it's called hot wax. So when I talk about hot wax or hard wax, it's actually the same thing. Okay. Whoa, that was a great one. Fabulous. Okay, so that's done. So we're going to cleanse with the skin cleanser. And all these products have a beautiful masculine scent. Now we're going to apply the Ingrown Excess solution, and if you're going to use a spray bottle, just spray some on a cotton pad and then apply it, or you can use the actual pre-moistened Ingrown Excess wipes. So you can use either. Great. And then we're going to use some of the MANifico finishing lotion, which has that beautiful masculine scent. There we go. Right, the other thing we can do is some eyebrow waxing. So we're cleaning with the MANifico Skin Cleanser. And how much you take off really is a personal thing. You need to discuss it with your client to make sure you're not taking too much off. You can always take more off, but we can't put them back. They have to grow back, so just check. So I'm going to use the MANifico hard wax or hot wax. We'll apply it in the center first. You can check if there's some hairs right down here on the nose. They're really good ones to remove at the same time, because if you remove these and you don't remove those, it'll look a bit funny. So just check what's around. You don't need a lot of wax on your spatula, because if you have too much, it'll just flow around and you won't be able to control it. So we apply the wax first of all with the hair growth. Applying the wax with the hair growth is the best way to remove the longer hair, and to also make sure the shape is correct. If you apply the wax against the hair growth, it can twist the eyebrow hair. If you apply the wax against the hair growth, as you're applying it on the long hair, the hairs can twist and they can catch hair from above that you do not want to remove. So it's best to actually apply the wax with the hair growth for the first time. Okay. So there's no need to have too much wax on your spatula. I like using the cuticle sticks, because you can always dip in again or get another spatula, of course, and reapply some more to continue the actual patch. Okay, this is ready. And this one too. Okay, so a little bit of extra oil just to tidy up. And this time we can go against the hair growth to pick up any short little hairs that might be there. Okay. You can always repeat the center because there will be some fluffy hairs there. If you need to apply in the center in 2 patches, that is fine as well. Always apply a little bit of pressure and a tiny little massage when you remove any patch of wax around the eyebrows. And there we go. If you like, you can apply the Inca and Exit wipes. I do recommend it. And then a little bit of the finishing lotion, which will soothe and calm the skin. It's got jasmine berry, calendula, and chamomile. So now, that is a really very good result. However, sometimes if you cannot get close enough and you're a little bit afraid to, you can tweeze a few hairs out just to make a perfect balance. And it is so good on men who especially have deep set eyes, our model has, and that really opens up their eyes and makes their eyes more expressive. So now we're going to be doing a back waxing demonstration as well as a neck wax. So our model doesn't have a lot of hair, but it is really great to show all the waxes anyway. So I'll wax different sections with the different waxes and explain a bit about all of them. Okay, so as usual, we will first cleanse with the MANifico Skin Cleanser. First of all, I'm going to use the MANifico strip wax with a spatula as well as a cartridge. There's no need to apply the MANifico pre-waxing oil when you're using strip wax. However, if the skin is very dry, it is always really much better if you do use some of the pre-waxing oil as well. So I'm going to just apply a tiny little bit. So first of all, I'm going to apply the MANifico strip wax with a spatula. So the hair is growing inwards and I apply the wax with the hair growth and we're going to remove it against the hair growth. Make sure you support the skin and stretch the skin as you're pulling. And make sure you're pulling along the skin, kind of low rather than up, because if you're pulling upwards, it'll actually hurt a lot more. You can reuse the same strip many times over. You can do half the back with one strip, in fact. Now the next one I'm going to show you is the MANifico strip wax in a cartridge. And so the same thing, you apply the wax with the hair growth and remove it against the hair growth. Stretch the skin away from the pull. Now the MANifico strip wax, both in the jar and the cartridge, has micromica in an Australian sandalwood. It's very soothing on the skin and it doesn't leave sticky residue, which means that it makes waxing also very comfortable, because it's, you know, sticky wax that can be dragging the skin and that can make it very uncomfortable. But these don't do that, so you can actually see it's hardly red at all. If you have very short hair on the body, strip wax will not remove very short hair. It will if it's only about 2 or 3 millimeters, but if some of it is very stubborn and strong, you need to use a hot wax. So in that case, we'll need to apply a little bit more pre-waxing oil. There we are. So that's now ready for the hot wax application. First of all, I'll use the MANifico hot wax, and these are best applied against the hair growth. Because there is not really a lot of hair, you don't need to apply the wax very thickly. It can be applied thinner, and you don't wait for it to be very hard before you remove it. It doesn't have to be rock hard. It's better to remove it when it's still soft and pliable. I'll do another patch with that. So the MANifico hot wax, might do some right here. I need to let it set. But while I'm waiting for it to set, I missed some of the hair here when I was doing the strip waxing, so I'll just finish that bit with that. It's actually coming off so easily and so well. There we go. And the third MANifico wax is the hybrid hot wax. I'll use some on the arm. Okay, there we go. More oil, because just in case I'm overlapping, I always apply some more pre-waxing oil to make sure the skin is protected. Sometimes if the wax breaks, don't keep on picking it off. You can just reapply some more wax on top of it and remove it altogether, because it's bound to happen at times. You don't need to wait until the wax is rock hard. Just keep on removing it when it's not too soft and but still pliable. Okay, now I'm going to do the neck, but I think it's best if we have the model sitting up, because you can get better accessibility. Okay, so the neck is much easier to do when the client is sitting up because you really have great access to the neck in this area. Otherwise, when they're like this, that will be hidden and it'll actually hurt because it's better to have the skin taut when they're sitting up as well. So, MANifico Skin Cleanser. Again, decide before you start applying the wax how much hair you're going to remove. So we're going to put some pre-waxing oil on. There's still a few little bits of hair on the shoulders as well. Okay. Right, well that is done. So I'm going to cleanse with the MANifico Skin Cleanser. Just everywhere. Okay, and then info and exit. Just warn the client that it'll probably feel a little bit cold. And make sure to recommend to the client to use the Info and Exit at home. That's done. And then to finish, we apply the MANifico finishing lotion, which is very soothing, with Tasman berry, Australian sandalwood, chamomile. Adam, you're done. Well, there we go. As you can see, we've just done the back wax and there's hardly any redness. A little bit around the neck, which is a little bit more sensitive, so you can expect some redness somewhere, but here there's absolutely nothing. I'm now going to demonstrate a nose wax, and a lot of people really cringe at the thought of it because they think it's going to really hurt so much. The reason people think it will hurt a lot is that just imagine, and you've probably tried it, if you pull just one hair out of the nose, it's really not comfortable. It makes your eyes water, you might sneeze, etc. But with this, even though you're removing a lot of hair all at once, it actually is more like a bit of a surprise that you're pulling this stick out, but it actually doesn't hurt. First of all, I'm going to cleanse the nostrils with MANifico Skin Cleanser. Just a little bit of skin cleanser on a cotton pad, and I roll it up, and then we just clean up. Okay, then I do the same thing with the pre-waxing oil. Okay, just make sure you apply the pre-waxing oil all over the nostrils, inside and well into the corners here, because there's often a lot of hair in the corners of the nostrils there, and we need to make sure that it's protected with the pre-waxing oil. The best sticks to use is like a paddle pop stick. You don't need a lot of wax, so I'm using the MANifico hot wax, just a little bit at the end of the paddle pop stick, and don't put the wax right up inside the nostril, just about 5 millimeters from the end of the nostril. Press it onto the skin to make sure that the wax is in contact with the skin, and that'll hold onto the hairs a lot better. And our model will need to now breathe through their mouth because I'm applying the other side as well. That saves time, and also it's a better way to set the wax, because when you're breathing through the nostrils, there's hot air going in and out, and it'll keep the wax soft. Now I've got the client sitting up because it's really a lot easier and it's a lot more comfortable when they're not fully relaxed and lying down. If they're sitting up, they're kind of supporting their head and everything themselves, and it actually hurts a lot less. So we make sure that the wax is set, so you just feel it from the outside. Let it set a little longer, otherwise the stick will come away from the wax, and we don't want that to happen. So that will be ready. Now we don't just yank it out, we must support the nose. We don't hold over where the wax is, we have to hold the nose down away from where the wax is. So it's above where the wax is, and we just pull it off like so. And we'll show you that in a moment. Now to finish, we again cleanse with the MANifico Skin Cleanser, both nostrils, and we will apply a little bit of the finishing lotion. Okay, that's it. So, how much pain was there, Adam?
Surprisingly, very little. Just came straight out.
Great. There we go. Thank you very much.